Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Today, I'm joined by writer, director, producer, and actor Adrian Tofei. How you doing today, brother?
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me. Good. I'm good. working on too much work.
Hey, that's never a bad thing, man. The more work you got, at least you got work and you're working. We're very excited. For those of you that don't know, Adrian has etched himself in the history books forever. Be My Cat is a film he did. It's a film for Anne is the full title. Be My Cat, a film for Anne. It is the first ever found footage horror film in Romania. And on top of that, it got many accolades. Blumhouse loved your film, as well as Dread Central made it on its top 5 horror films of 2016. But that's not it. This is a trilogy of movies this is just the first one. What can you tell us about Be My Cat, a film for Anne, and the rest of the trilogy that's coming out?
Well, Be My Cat, a film for Anne, it's like it's a meta cinema found footage horror film. So practically the entire trilogy is going to be meta. Be My Cat was more centered on horror. Mm-hmm. We Put the World to Sleep. The next one will be more personal. Probably might have some horror elements, but it will go much more further into the meta territory, into the metaphysical territory, and so on. And then the third one, Dr. Frankenstein, it's still under development right now. That will talk. I think that's influenced probably by Bride of Frankenstein. I think by the movie. Yeah. My next one, We Put the World to Sleep. That's kind of I wanted to mix because 2 of the films that influenced me the most were the Blair Witch Project and 2001: A Space Odyssey. And in We Put the World to Sleep, I wanted to kind of mix the realism of Blair Witch with the metaphysics of the Space Odyssey. Kind of, that's my next film.
And I knew I've read your biography, and I know that you were a big fan of 2001: Space Odyssey. I know your mom really pushed that. It's really cool to hear that you had a parent. I know you lost your father at a young age, and I'm very sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. It's like, I didn't grow up with him, so it was not a trauma for me. So thank you. Right. It's okay.
But having a single mother to be able to push you, like you said, she really pushed you with 2001: A Space Odyssey. She really I
don't remember her pushing me with that specific film, but in general being encouraged, to watch films. And I think she had a passion for sci-fi, so I think that kind of indirectly she she had I don't know, paved the way, me watching films and being into films, kind of, I think.
Sure. So for the people that haven't seen it, where all can we see Be My Cat, a film for Anne? Where all could we find that at online?
When is this going to air?
This will air in the middle to end of November.
Okay. So then, because it's going to be very soon on October 27th, it's going to premiere on YouTube for free on Kings of Horror. It's like the biggest horror movie channel. It has over 1 million subscribers, and there's no point in mentioning the premiere, because by the time this will air, it will already be in the past. But you go to YouTube and write Be My Cat, the film for Anne, full movie free. And it's not one of those fake links that on YouTube. It's an actual
you don't have to search for it. I got all of Adrian's info down here in the description. I will also put a link to Be My Cat. That way people have that. You can just click on the link down here and check it out.
There's also on Amazon Prime and all these subscription platforms, but I think YouTube will be the best one, and the easiest one, in my opinion.
And not only that, but like I said, this is won a lot of awards, and it got when you're getting praise from Blumhouse and Dread Central puts it on its top 5 horror films, you're doing something right. So make sure you guys are checking this out. Let him know, because this isn't the only one. You're going to have 2 more to follow this. Now, the next 2, are those also going to be found footage?
If not really found footage in the sense that it is a footage that is lost and found, but definitely We Put the World to Sleep is definitely a mockumentary. probably with some found footage elements. But found footage fans sometimes don't really differentiate. They call found footage even some mockumentaries that are actually not really, the footage is not lost and found, but they still put it in the found footage thing. So yeah, it's not technically found footage, but a lot of people will take it as found footage, I think, in my opinion. And about Dr. Frankenstein, about the third one, I'm not sure yet. I think it will be. But I can't guarantee that yet.
Right. Well, like you said, it's still in development, so things could change by the day. So I'm very excited to see where you go in this universe. Like I said, guys, just one last reminder, all his information is down here in the description. So please, he's putting in a lot of hard work. Like he already told you at the beginning, the guy's working his ass off. We owe it to him to check out the hard work he's doing. And we owe it to ourselves too, because this is a lot of fun to watch. So, but we are here today, Adrian, to talk about the first horror film that you ever watched. And your first horror film was?
Well, I think it was Carrie, Brian De Palma's Carrie. I can't be 100% sure. Maybe I've seen some other things that just didn't stay with me, that just didn't. But the one that I remember that actually stayed with me a lot, and I think I didn't realize how much it influenced me until some years ago, because I looked in my trajectory, in my professional trajectory along the years, literally like starting from college when I was doing some theater shows. I was into theater, and I realized that I was going so much towards this. For example, Be My Cat, my film was practically influenced by a one-man show I did at the end of after I finished masters in acting. And I went on that one-man show. It was kind of the same thing. It was this type of a psychopath, and I was I was trying to make him as innocent and vulnerable as possible. I was always seeking for this paradox in a character, and if possible also in the story, somebody that is also very vulnerable and very even to a point likable, to empathize, yet at the same time very destructive. And I realized that this is, I think, most probably an influence from Carrie, because she is that thing. She is like this. Wow, this I would say the ultimate paradox of I'm not sure if I can say that. Maybe there are other characters even better than this, but definitely super efficient in that way, because she's so vulnerable. She's like the ultimate vulnerable human being, yet bringing the ultimate destruction and carrying the ultimate force and the ultimate anger. Why is she carrying that ultimate force and ultimate anger? Because this how should I say? Because this vulnerability, the more vulnerable you are, the more you feel hurt by the world, the more you get bullied, the more you get assaulted, So it's this thing like, if you are a normal person, if you are not too vulnerable, then okay, you're going to be okay in your life. But if you are a very sensitive, if you are a very vulnerable person, you will feel so much hurt by the world you live in, and you will accumulate that anger, and you will, you at some point, you will become this paradoxical character, because okay, you were the most vulnerable person. Yes, you accumulated the most destructive force, against the society that hurt you, and that I find it so dramatic and powerful. And also coincided with what my acting teacher was telling me in college always, that drama and theater and acting, anything, it's only interesting and characters are interesting when there is a paradox, when there are two things that contradict each other within the same thing, and this makes people think, this it's not only good and bad, black and white, the way we see in Hollywood action movies, you see something and you see both good and bad at the same time, and this really resets your values and really makes you think.
Well, you're right, because you're not supposed to like Carrie at the end, because she is using her powers for evil there at the end. But at the same time, as being a human being, you completely relate to why she's doing it. After everything they've put her through, why she's doing what she's doing. So I completely agree with that. Do you remember about how old you were the first time you seen Carrie?
I am not so sure. I think I'm trying to see if it was before school or before I started school or after I started school. I think it is probably it was after in elementary school, or I'm so sorry. I don't know. Maybe
No,
I would say between five and eight. I would say something like that, somewhere there, because. I know for sure that because I also suffered from bullying actually in school. So her like having her that moment, that cathartic moment that she has there in the ballroom. I remember. I think I don't remember exactly how I felt back then, but you know what? Something very interesting. I recently watched Carrie again with my wife, and in that scene, in the ballroom scene, like all of a sudden I was so intense, I was so much into it, I empathized so much with her that literally I started trembling a little bit.
Yeah.
And I realized that was such a cathartic moment, and I realized, I think this really has to do probably both with my childhood traumas about bullying. Is as if I am living that thing now, as
Right.
if I am living what she is living, as if I'm avenging my bullies just by empathizing with her, with what she's doing now. It's a complicated psychological thing that
That's a good thing about horror movies. We can escape into them. Like you said, it's cathartic for us, like to look at that and feel that. I was going to ask you, which scene affected you the most? Was it the ballroom scene, the prom scene?
Definitely. But that's the thing about Carrie. I would say, unfortunately, I would say that's the thing, because I think it's a great movie, but I think the rest of the film, when I saw it recently, does not elevate to the same level as that ballroom scene. And some people might feel, and even I feel to a certain extent, like I'm watching the movie mainly in order to reach that scene.
Yes. You're feeling the buildup, waiting for that climax.
Yes, exactly. And then
And
the
it's one of
ending
those
as
things.
well.
One scene that always affected me as a kid was when she's in the shower and they're throwing the tampons at her, telling her plug it up,
Yeah,
I didn't understand that when I was a little boy, so I didn't really know what was going on there. But then, like you said, you watch it as an adult and it breaks you because she thinks there's something wrong with her at this point. Like she's lived a life to where her mom has just pretty much just like not raised her. She's just guided her, but not raised her at all, to know that this is what a woman's body goes through. And it's really heartbreaking as a father now. I have 3 kids. I have 2 little girls, and trying that education. My little girls are very young right now, so I don't have to worry about that yet. But just knowing that education of when that comes, not letting my daughters feel like they're discovering that by themselves and thinking there's something wrong with them. So it's funny how when you watch it as a kid, you feel one way. Then you watch it as a parent, you feel a complete different way. And I think it's a well acted movie, and you really feel for Sissy Spacek. You feel like she is this beaten, just down on her luck woman, and it's such a fun film to watch as an adult, and understanding and
Exactly. And
respecting
her
what she's going
performance,
through.
exactly. And her performance, her performance is definitely, if the movie, I always list, I have a list on my website, top 250 movies that impressed and influenced me the most. The first one is Space Odyssey. The second, I think, is second, and the third is either one is Blair Witch and the other one is Carrie, or Carrie and Blair Witch. Yeah, it's huge influence. And also Sissy Spacek's acting performance, I think that one also influenced me so much. I think her acting performance, like literally I cannot say that it makes the movie. You know why? Because also Brian De Palma has some very good directing moments, and the entire team. I've seen a documentary, for example, that thing. By the way, right now I'm not a religious person now, but I used to be a Christian, and actually not a strong believer, like going to church and stuff, but I used to believe, and when I used to believe, that thing kind of really impressed me, the way she was being locked inside that thing, and there was that crucifix there, and then she subconsciously crucifies her mom in the same position, and her head falls in the same position. Oh my God, that felt so powerful. Even today it feels powerful, you know. And do you know that was not actually planned? I read about that. That was about I forgot his name exactly. I think Jack Fisk or something. I think that was his name. The production designer or the costume, one of the art people, the art guys in the film, literally had that idea, either to build that puppet there and put it in the where she was locked, or for her mom to be killed in the same position, something like that. So practically the entire team went together during this film, and everybody felt inspired. And actually they said that it was this miraculous moment where everybody feels inspired. The creativity flows through everybody during the process. And in the ending also impressed me, the tragic ending, like the idea of everything, like this catharsis, this total catharsis in the ending, this total cathartic moment in which everybody dies, literally the house collapses, like you even expect even more than house collapsing to happen. The only thing I can say, the only thing that bothers me, and I think a lot of fans, everybody's talking about that moment that as being a great moment in the movie. I never liked it because it didn't make sense. I'm more of a dramatic person. I want to see this dramatic paradox, dramatic conflict. Well, the actual ending, with the hand coming from the grave, the scare, the jump scare, I never saw the meaning of that. I was much more, for me, the ending was the house collapses. the real ending for me.
Yeah, they always got to have that last jump scare. They all do it. So we talked about which scene affected you, with it being, the dance scene. But if you had to choose your favorite scene from the movie, what would you say your favorite scene is?
In what terms favorite? Like, let's try to define it a little bit.
I know the ballroom scene affected you the most, but let's say, like, when you think about the movie, what scene is it that really encapsulates you the most? Which scene is it that draws you to the film the most? If you had to choose one scene above all the others.
It has to be the same one, like, and also the split screen does it, because the split screen, and it's like her being personality kind of being split. By the way, even that split screen also talks about the metaphor, the paradox, like two sides of her, and her eyes and her acting. It's so powerful, so cathartic. So it has to be that scene, like.
Well, and see, for me, I always talk about the deaths in the movie, which death affected you. And for me, Roger Cobb, William Catt, who plays the prom king, was also Roger Cobb in the movie House, which is my favorite horror movie. So, seeing him, that was probably the death that affected me the most in the movie. I mean, you got a lot to choose from. A whole town dies, but what death in the movie do you think affected you the most? I hate saying what was your favorite kill, because that's such a dark way of saying it, but what death did you appreciate the most in the movie?
It must be the ending, but it's hard for me to choose between her mom dying and her death, actually. I think, even to be honest, I think I will choose Carrie's death, actually.
Carrie's. Okay.
Because I don't see it, but just knowing that she chooses to die there together, like, it's still, oh my God, like, I almost have watery eyes thinking the way after her mom dies, after she kills her mom, she starts crying and she takes her, tries to take her mom, still. Wow, that's so powerful. Oh my God.
I agree. I got two more questions for you before we sign off. The first one is, we talked about how Carrie was the first horror movie you ever watched, but I want to go scream on you here. What is your favorite scary movie, your favorite horror movie of all time?
Favorite horror movie of all time. It's so hard to choose. Can I give you three options? Like
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like I would say The Haunting, for
Okay.
the Haunting 1963, for the wonderful atmosphere they create. I would say the Blair Witch, because the Blair Witch is not my favorite, but Blair Witch influenced me a lot.
Yeah.
And I would say Freaks, maybe, for how much it was ahead of its times, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Wasn't that One
That's
of
such
Us?
a
One of Us? Wasn't
what?
that Freaks, where they had the chant at the end, the One of Us, One of Us? Was that
Yeah,
Freaks?
exactly.
Yeah.
1932 Freaks, yeah, in which the guy actually used people from with all types of physical disabilities and stuff, and Hollywood literally like threw it away. You know, they thought it's trash, and later in the 60s was finally somebody found it and was rediscovered as a masterpiece. You know,
Yeah.
like that's such a thing as well. And I also have another film which a lot of people do not consider it horror, but that is my type of horror. It is A Picnic at Hanging Rock. I like the atmosphere. It's an Australian film, you know, the way this mystery, you know, because what I really appreciate in horror is not the killing or the blood or the violence. I appreciate in horror the most this mystery, this awe-inspiring mystery, where there is a very little fear, but more like mystery, you know,
Sure.
like the way you walk at night and you feel something, you know, in the air, you know. It's like those leaves moving in the movie Halloween, you
Yeah.
know, there's just wind and just leaves moving along the street. And there is some fear, there's some mystery, but more like awe-inspiring. That is what actually horror means to me.
Sure. So, I always end these with the same question. We always do the same way. We rank Carrie. Your ranking, 0 being the worst, 5 being the best. We are using a skull count. So 0 skulls is the worst, 5 is the best. You can use half and quarter skulls. Absolutely can. What would you rank Carrie on 0 to 5 skulls?
Sorry, the video connection got off a bit. The sound actually got off. You said I can use or I cannot use huffs?
You can.
I can. Okay. Carrie. As a movie, between 3.5 and 4, I would say.
Okay.
Between 3.5 and 4.
That's a fair ranking. That's a very fair ranking.
Yeah.
And it's one of those movies that I think will stand the test of time. Obviously, they've remade it a couple different times, but nothing compares to the original when it comes to Carrie to me. The newest one, you know, Chloe Moretz, I can't never say her last name correctly, but, you know, I think she's a wonderful actress, and I think that she did a great job, but I don't believe that she's this, you know, dorky, nerdy, you know, I just don't see it. Maybe because I've seen her in other roles where she doesn't play that.
Chloe, yes, sorry for interrupting. I want to say the same thing. I've seen this one and it didn't stay with me, and I couldn't empathize with it. I had very big expectations also from the director, because being a woman, I thought, oh, she will understand better the woman psychology, being bullied or all that. But she just, I don't know. Probably she just couldn't put her really hand on it.
Right.
She didn't. And I would agree about Chloe. I don't think. I think what's missing is exactly what what I was talking about. Carrie having this paradox between this extreme innocence and vulnerability and what she does. Chloe does not give. She doesn't have that extreme vulnerability, Chloe, you know?
Yeah, she seems too cool to me. Like that. I mean, it's not an insult towards her, because I think she's an amazing actress, but she just seems too cool to play the role of Carrie, you know. And I'm not
and not naive enough, and also not naive enough. Like Carrie was literally so naive. Like you look at Carrie and you literally think that the actress was actually like that, you know, and that's what works so well.
Yep. Well, and again, I want to thank you for coming on. Don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you, Adrian. Everybody else, make sure you're checking him out down here in the description. Always, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.